Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rebel Roundup. I'm your host, Sheila Gunn Reid. We are late today, and I was the problem. So I'm sorry about that. This is our daily news and opinion show. And as always on Tuesdays, it is such a delight to be joined by my very best friend in the entire world, Lise Merle from Regina, Saskatchewan. Lise, how's it going?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sheila Gunn Reid, what a screaming 48 hours we are coming off of. My goodness, we've had an exciting time.
Yeah, we were in North Battleford for a Saskatchewan Prosperity Project event. I think the room only technically held 105 or 107 people, but they had 137 people there, and it was in the best place ever, the Battleford's Wildlife Federation building. So much taxidermy. At points,
Oh,
I felt like I could feel the vibes of the animal. I felt like I was the animal. Sometimes I have many selfies with the animals
I,
and some
I,
videos too.
yeah, I found myself a spirit animal at
Yeah.
the Wildlife Federation there in North Battleford, and it's a hissing wombat.
Yeah.
Okay,
What?
it's a hissing wombat with visible scars, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's what my enemies see when I step into their safe space, and
I
I
was
like
a
this for them.
taxidermied, I think it was a badger?
No, you were porcupine, Sheila, weren't you?
Porcupine. It was the hair. It was the hair.
Just
Anyways,
the prickly bits is what you
the
identified
startled
this
look.
with. Yes.
My startled look. Anyways, I should tell everybody what we're doing. I'm sorry my hair is crunchy. Again, I'm the reason I was late today. If you are watching us on Rumble, that's a great free speech platform. You'll get Rebel News completely uncensored over there. If you are willing and able to support the show, you can leave a paid chat over there. It's called a Rumble Rant. We ask you for that because we'll never take a penny from the government to do the work that we do around here, because we would be politically contaminated. You would question our independence, right? So we rely on you. But the good thing is we let you have your say. So we ask for something, we give you something. So if your chat is over the $5 US cutoff, it's obligatory for us to read it on air. If it's under that, time permitting. I do have a hard out at just gently after the top of the hour. So we'll do our best to get to your chats. And if you are watching us on YouTube, which remains a censorship platform, but somehow we remain monetized over there. And I realize that 2 million of you nearly prefer to watch us over there. You can leave a paid chat that's called a super chat over there. And if you miss a live version of the show and you want to support our work, you can leave a paid comment called a super thanks. So those are the rules. Let's get into the show. I think I wrote this up last week, but that's okay. Juno got around to it. This was, I believe it was an order paper question. Mark Carney billed taxpayers $94,000 for in-flight catering in one single trip.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You could buy a house for that in Saskatchewan. An
right.
entire whole house for an entire whole family is what this guy spent on food on one
Yeah.
of his international excursions. This is outrageous. With people at food banks, this makes me incensed.
This is just same old Carney though. He's when he was at the Bank of England, he came under fire for expense abuse for he and Diana Fox Carney, his wife, and they were just racking up the expenses and billing them to the taxpayers. So it's meet the old boss, same as the, or meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Justin Trudeau did this. I think it was nearly $250,000 he spent on
Oh, I
in-flight
remember that.
catering on one junket. That was an access to information filing by us
You
here
did
at
it.
Rebel News.
Yes.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
it.
you did it. You were like, "Wait a sec. How much did this cost us exactly?" And then when you found out, it was so mind-bendingly atrocious. I mean, and
Yep.
this is just the same. This is just same. Like,
They were
absolutely
loading booze
egregious.
onto the plane at different stops because they were just drinking so much on that flight. I think it was a like that Pan
Oh,
Asian trip, whatever Justin Trudeau was doing. I mean, they never actually do any work, and it was like $250,000 Canadian.
unreal.
That's what their food costs were on their little junket. While, yeah, Canadians are struggling
Unreal.
under 6% food inflation. Sickening.
Yep. Mm.
And nothing ever comes of it. Like they never apologize for it. They just, as liberals are entitled to their entitlements, they don't even care about the perception of looking like elitist Laurentian ghouls.
No, and why would they? Why would they? Because they're not trying to impress the Canadian taxpayer. They're trying to impress their well-heeled international friends.
Yeah. Um, and they're making these junkets while not fixing the relationship with the
Everything.
United States or everything. Yeah, they're not
Everything
fix
broken.
the things they
Yeah,
broke, they're not even
yeah.
trying to fix. We've got this from CTV News, but Trump posted his thoughts to Truth Social
Mm.
on this the other day. Trump threatens to block the opening of the bridge between Windsor and Detroit. Um, Not allow a new bridge between Windsor and Detroit to open unless the United States is fully compensated for everything it has given Canada. So Trump's Truth Social post reads, as everyone knows, the country of Canada has treated the United States very unfairly for decades. Now things are turning around for the USA and fast. You know, I love how he writes. It's just like how he talks. But
Mhm.
imagine Canada is building a massive bridge between Ontario and Michigan. They own both the Canada and the United States side, and of course, built with virtually no US content. President Barack Hussein Obama stupidly gave them a waiver so they could get around the Buy American Act and not use any American products, including our steel. Now the Canadian government expects me, as President of the United States, to permit them to just take advantage of America. What does the United States of America get? Absolutely nothing. And here's where Doug Ford comes into the mix. Ontario won't even put US spirits, beverages, and other alcoholic products on their shelves. They are absolutely prohibited from doing so. And now, on top of everything else, Prime Minister Mark Carney wants to make a deal with China, which will eat Canada alive. We'll just get the leftovers. I don't think so. The first thing China will do is terminate all ice hockey being played in Canada and permanently eliminate the Stanley Cup. Of course, he's got to put his little jokies in there. Uh, the tariffs Canada charges us for our dairy products have for many years been unacceptable, putting our farmers at great financial risk. Also, attacking the poor in Canada. I will not allow this bridge to open until the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them. And also, importantly, Canada treats the United States with the fairness and respect that we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately. With all that we have given them, we should own perhaps at least one half of this asset. The revenues generated because of the US market will be astronomical. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Good job, Doug Ford.
Here's
Nice
well,
work.
here's the reckoning that we've been saying is going to be coming from the United States because of Doug Ford's actions. Here it is, Canada. Here it is.
Yeah,
And I also think that this shows the weakness in Mark Carney's bargaining position. Because really, if Trump is saying, trade reciprocity is really important to me, and you guys haven't been playing. You guys haven't been playing the game I
right,
need you to play. Well, this is his option. And I do believe that we're in the FO stage about FAing in
right.
Ontario.
Yeah. I mean, in Alberta, we can get American liquor, uh, but Doug Ford made it a big deal that they were not going to have American booze on the shelves.
Mhm,
And he thought he was, impressing the elbows up boomers who drink their white Zinfandel instead of
mhm.
their Kentucky bourbon. And these are those chickens coming home to roost. Remember he
Yep.
poured out that bottle of Crown Royal made in Gimli, Manitoba to really
Like
stick it
dribbling
to,
out,
yeah,
dribbling out
could shake
like
it
a,
out.
yeah.
Well, this is what
Oh,
his
here's
stunts get
good.
him. Like, there's
Yeah.
no reason to be antagonistic with the
Yeah.
world's largest economy. No
Yeah.
reason for
And
it.
on a bridge that carries so many products back
Auto
and forth over the
parts.
oh, this is an absolutely integral part of the infrastructure in trade between those 2 regions of the United States and in Canada. So if this I mean, if this gets locked up, the way Trump is saying it's gonna get locked up until things are addressed, well, oof, I wouldn't wanna be Doug Ford. It
Well, it's
wouldn't
time
be
to,
a good day to be
yeah.
Doug Ford.
Um, Remember how they reacted with protesters dancing on the bridge, the other bridge in Windsor, because that
Mm.
bridge was so busy, they actually had to build this one to deal with the trade between our two countries. They invoked the Emergencies Act to deal with the
Sure did.
protesters during COVID dancing on the bridge. And
And,
they said,
and those
we
people were
had to do
labeled
it.
those
Yeah,
people were labeled, all of the same things as people are when they oppose the government, when they defy the government. There was this air of unacceptability about what they were doing on the bridge. Again, repeat, they were dancing. They
They
were
were
dancing for
taxing them.
freedom. Yep, and they
Yes.
got treated like common criminals by the government. And so, yeah, this is a real interesting turn of events, isn't it, Sheila Gunn Reid? It's actually good. Like, I'm delighted to see Trump getting involved in this. It's perfect.
I think it's time to put supply management on the table.
Well, he's talking about dairy there.
Hmm.
Canada suffers under an oppressive Ontario-Quebec dairy cartel, where the rest of us pay way, way, way higher prices at the grocery store because of the control that they have over the food supply here in Canada, and Trump is talking about that too.
And you know what? There are other countries that have undone their supply management. I think Australia, New Zealand, maybe
Do
they
they?
they undid supply management. They did. I think it was a one-time payout of the quotas, and then
Mm.
that was it. Okay,
And then
now you
open up the
go.
free market. Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, that
and
would be excellent considering what we're doing now is prohibitively expensive for people when they try and feed their families.
right. And when they say, "Oh, the Americans put hormones in their milk and blah blah blah," so if it says, you know what, I don't care. But if it says "Product of America" on it, and you're one of those elbows up boomers, and you see that on your cheese, then just
Don't buy it.
buy the Canadian product. Why limit access to the market for these American boutique cheeses? We could actually have our own boutique cheeses, but people can't get into the market as small farmers because the
No,
quotas are so expensive.
that's
And the
right.
quotas are
The
owned.
buy-in the
Yep.
buy-in is so, so great. Like, the regulatory burden that you have to make a hurdle over to get into this business well, it chases people away. I mean, who would want to get into this?
Well, let's not pretend like these quotas are owned by, like small legacy farmers. They're
Right.
not. A lot of them are owned by big investment firms.
Humongous investment firms. That's right.
So
Yeah.
I think put it on the
Commercial
table, figure out how to
commercialized ag.
unravel the quota system, and let's quit fighting with our American friends and make milk and cheese cheaper for Canadians. Like a nutritional staple for poor people. They should be able to afford it. Instead, you know what they call the Canadians at the Costco in Bellingham, Washington?
Hmm.
The red plague. Because we come down there, we buy up all the milk and the cheese because it's so much more affordable.
I know a guy that goes every 10 days for eggs. Eggs!
Yeah.
People are making international trips for eggs.
Mhm. That's because of our quota system. Mark Carney was asked about Trump's post saying he's not going to let the new Windsor Detroit bridge open until the Americans are treated fairly. And Mark Carney said he had a call with Trump anyway on this. So we'll see.
Rest rest
So the
easy.
first
Oh,
thing to say is there's a big game today, and the
It's a
president
big
and I
game.
discussed the Canada-U.S. game, and of course we're all behind our team. Secondly, we discussed a number of issues, international issues. Thirdly, we discussed the bridge. I explained that Canada, of course, paid for the construction of the bridge, over $4 billion, that the ownership is shared between the state of Michigan and the government of Canada, and that in the construction of the bridge, obviously there's Canadian steel, Canadian workers, but also U.S. steel, U.S. workers that are involved. This is a great example of cooperation between our countries. Look forward to it opening. And what is particularly important, of course, is the commerce and the tourism and the voyages of Canadians and Americans that will go across that bridge. So the conversation turned to a series of issues that we will raise and we're going to follow up on. I'm not going to go into detail on those issues. These would be specific issues in parallel to the CUSMA negotiations. Final point is the president asked appropriately that his ambassador, who's from Michigan, of course, play a role in smoothing the conversation in and around the bridge. So it was a positive conversation. It's a big game today, and we're going to win.
I'm not confident in
I'm not
anything that the man said. I don't feel any better.
No, what we should take away from this is rest assured, Canada, the biggest doof in the room has taken care of things, and there's nothing to see here. He's Johnny on the spot. Did that
I would love
inspire confidence? Didn't inspire confidence in me.
I would love to hear the American readout of that call because we'll never get the Canadian readout. They'll just keep it. But I would love to hear the American readout of actually how that call went. I seriously doubt they talked hockey. And why does Carney always do this disarming folksy thing where he's the hockey prime minister? Like, I don't care.
He and his hockey career was, one game at Harvard or something like this, you
Backup
know what I mean?
goalie.
Like, he was the backup goalie who was only put in the game when they were, I forget what the score of the game was, but in any case, he was only put in once, okay,
Yeah.
in an emergency, and, he didn't play too well. That's what Trump should know during those calls, but I could see him coming off as really folksy in the beginning without, if people don't know that he's evil. It's a quick way to disarm
You could
them.
tell once you look at him, though.
Right?
He does look like a
There's
sinister man.
like Gargamel from the Smurfs. Just
Yes.
think of that, like hunchback with
Yes.
the fingers, and he's always scheming and finding ways to try and eat the little slave class. Don't you
Yeah.
think Gargamel?
That fair enough.
Mhm.
Fair enough. In other news, Canada discreetly puts money down on 14 additional F-35s. Despite an ongoing review, Ottawa made payments relating to the acquisition of more US-built fighter jets. So not so elbows up. And these things are more expensive now than they were when we should have bought them. Do you remember one of Trudeau's first acts was to pull us out of the F-35 procurement in, I
Yes.
think, 2015, because he said, like, what did he say? Something like, what are we gonna do? Whip out our F-35s? And instead he bought us more F-18 clunkers, actually AF-18s, retired F-18s from
Mhm.
Australia,
Another
that
country, yes.
that I don't think are even flying yet. And
Mhm.
so we're paying, like, I'm not against this military procurement whatsoever, but the elbows up boomers tell me they are because they don't want to buy anything from the Americans. And these are costing way more than they should have been because we were supposed to go in with the rest of our NATO allies to buy these back in
Mhm.
2015. So now we're paying way more to get the same product because Justin Trudeau had to undo everything that Harper ever did.
Well, and I think that this approach, the approach of we'll throw money at it and keep reviewing it, also doesn't serve the Canadian taxpayer, because this is the way of the Liberals, right? They're like, we're looking at it, we're reviewing it, we've got our consultants on it. This review actually gets in the way of a full commitment and getting Canadian armed forces up to snuff on the international scale. Like that the Liberals are paying a bunch of their friends to look at it and just sort of kick the can down the street, it isn't helping where they think it's going to help. It's just
Yeah.
another stall tactic as far as I'm concerned.
Here it is. And I just found the link of Trudeau. Olivia, I just sent it to you. Justin Trudeau vows to scrap the F-35 fighter jet program. And he said, this is 2015. Our Canadian forces are in a state of stagnation.
So
Okay, then why did you cancel the state of the art procurement of the F-35, which I saw in
exactly.
action in Israel, by the way. We went to an air show in Israel, and
Ooh,
that
did
thing is
you?
incredible.
Sheila,
It
Gunn,
like,
Reid, can
go
we
ahead.
just put air shows on the calendar for this summer? Like we could
You
cover
want to go
them
to the
for our
Cold Lake
Rebel
Air
fan.
Show?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could cover them for our Rebel viewers. No, this is Canada. Canada needed a strong military back in 2015, but after 10 years of liberal rot, 11 years of liberal rot, we have never seen our military in such poor condition. And yet, what did the Liberals do under Mark Carney? They're like, we're just going to review it some more.
Right.
We'll review
And
it some more and throw money at it, and nothing will come of it.
well,
Perfect.
and then Justin Trudeau, 10 years after canceling the F-35 procurement,
Mhm,
where we could have got in on a cheaper price with these things and been 10 years ahead, then he's like,
mhm.
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to revamp the military and buy some F-35s. And then the entire mainstream media was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I'm so glad you're the first person to have it. As though we're all hard of remembering when he
Yeah.
canceled the F-35s.
Also, what he did was he gave the military tampons.
Right,
He gave
there's
them
that too.
military tampons instead of combat jets. That's what he did.
Yeah.
So well done, liberals. Well done.
Safer already. I feel safer already. Hey, let's move on to the things that we love to talk about over here, and that is Western independence. This is Angus Reid push polling. A recent Angus Reid poll shows the vast majority of Albertans wish to remain in Canada and disapprove of how Alberta's Premier Daniel Smith has handled the issue. Let's watch this video, and I want to know who they're talking to.
Oh, girl, all day.
Angus Reid poll on Alberta separation is being released this morning. New data shows that despite a lot of noise by Alberta separatists wanting to leave Canada, the vast majority of Albertans want to stay. With more, I'm joined now by CTV's Judy Trin in our bureau this morning. Judy, good morning to you. So tell us about this poll and what you're learning.
Good morning, Marcia. What I can tell you is that despite a lot of media coverage lately in regards to Alberta separatist movement, it appears from this latest data gathered by Angus Reid that the support is wishy-washy and not as strong as the media coverage would indicate. Now, there definitely is about 3 out of 10 Albertans support the idea of separating from Canada. Now, you will see from this graphic that we're putting up that this support equates to about 29% of Albertans. Of that number, only 8% say they are definitely leaning that way. So it's not bedrock support. And the numbers of Albertans are overwhelmingly in support of staying in Canada. 65% say they would vote to stay, while the majority of that group who support staying is 57%, Marcia. So you can see from these figures that the number of people who support Alberta separating from Canada is less than a third. And that support is wishy-washy.
Okay, Judy, settle
Okay,
down.
Judy.
You know who isn't at any of the events talking to people who are interested in independence for the West? Judy Trin. Haven't seen her at one. We've been at many. And
Yep.
if you talk to regular people instead of your fancy friends over in the mainstream media, you would understand that not everybody is willing to talk about this publicly yet. And talking to Angus Reid would be part of that, sorry. But they would have a phone list that would be so skewed to the one side that they would completely miss the prevailing narrative that is catching on like wildfire across the prairies. I love this. Would move to another province or territory in Canada.
Sure.
You
What?
go,
As if you're
buddies,
going to
like,
self-deport? Let
do
me
it.
call the U-Haul.
Please, like we will. Oh, I'll crowdfund for you, boomers. You want to skedaddle on to Ontario or Quebec? Oh, make my absolute day. Make my absolute day. What we can tell you, valued Rebel fam, is that everybody we talk to in Alberta and Saskatchewan is at least thinking about this topic, this very topic of independence, and many are 2 feet out the door.
For sure.
Many.
Let's go into Phil Fournier's analysis of this. Angus
Sure.
Reid Institute. If a referendum was held on Alberta separation, would you vote for Alberta to leave Canada and become its own independent country or stay in Canada? All respondents, 65% is stay, 30% is leave. Conservative Party voters, 49% leave, 45% stay. That's a problem for the Conservatives, by the way. And we saw that at the convention. Remember I said to you, I haven't spoken to a single person here who wants to stay.
Everybody there.
And even the people from outside of the province was like, yeah, you guys got to go.
It's wow, we don't blame you. This is
that's what it was.
We don't blame you. We don't blame you at all. No, it's Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the West deserve a fair deal, and the people of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the West are not getting that fair deal from the federal government, and this puts the Conservative Party of Canada at a real impasse. Their membership and their base is saying, we see that nothing is getting fixed in Ottawa, that even having Conservatives 11 years in opposition, that opposition has been ineffective to represent our interests,
Yep.
and we want something better for ourselves. So interesting times ahead.
Also, I think they're oversampling Edmonton in these polling.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
You know, Edmonton, as Ralph Klein once said, is a beautiful place with too many mosquitoes and socialists, and that is an evergreen statement. It's the seat of government. It's where all the unions are. And so if you oversample your polling data in Edmonton, you're going to get that. Like
Yes.
that, it will turn up like that. But as the UCP knows, to win in this province, you need a majority of Calgary and all the rural areas. And if I had to guess where all the separatists are, the majority of Calgary and all the rural areas.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, same for Saskatchewan. Same for Saskatchewan. Yeah, Regina is our seat of government. Everybody here is a flaming socialist except for me, and and this is where the stay in Canada sentiment would be coming from. You know, from the likes of Carla Beck and the NDP, and what do we call her? Carla Nenshi.
Carla Nenshi, Lady Nenshi.
Lady Nenshi. Yes,
Yeah.
but outside of the metropolitan area of Regina, man, the people are ready to go. They're just acknowledging that Confederation is broken and we don't have a future within it.
Well, and also 1 in 3. That's more than the people who vote for the Liberals and the NDP in Alberta combined.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's not nothing.
That
It's
ain't
not
nothing.
nothing.
So even if it were that number, which I think is artificially low, I think they're oversampling in the urban areas. But even if it is that number, can we stop talking about these people like they're fringe radicals? Can we stop talking about them like there's one guy involved in the
wishy-washy.
separatist movement? I hate that. There's really only one guy involved in the separatist movement. Instead, you see these like guerrilla petition signing pop-ups on the side of roads because people are so desperate to leave. They can't train their canvassers fast enough
They
to
can't get the
meet
paperwork
demand.
out. That's right. They
No.
can't get the paperwork out to them fast enough. They can't keep up to the demand of people who are just putting everything else on hold and going, we're doing this, Alberta. We're
Yeah.
gone. We're out.
Yeah. And then we've got a video from Jeff Rath. Is this from Jeff Rath or is it of Jeff Rath? We're coming in cold to the show here. Jeff Rath keeps saying Alberta won't need taxes. Oh, this is this person.
I could
should
tell
have been
already.
the cringe. But I could tell these people have a look about them, don't they? And I know some of you in the comments are like, Sheila, quit making fun of people's looks. I'm not winning any beauty pageants. I know how I came onto the show today. I was like, I need 2 minutes to put on mascara. Thanks, Olivia. So like, let me preface that by saying, like, look, I'm not for everybody. I get it. But the second you see this face, you know how she votes. You know, like,
she's out there.
know.
She was out there protesting for everything. You know, this type of person and her friends. She got some. She's tendencies. She gets notions.
Yeah, you can tell. Like, this is a person who are like, oh, okay, you voted NDP. Sounds great. But anyway, this person thinks that they're going to debunk Jeff Rath, who says that Alberta won't need taxes after separation. But then this person goes on to not understand corporate income tax. Anyway.
Hey, so quick thing. When Jeff Rath claims that if Alberta separates, we won't be paying taxes here anymore, he's lying to you. Yeah. Oil and gas is privatized, and that's not going to be changing anytime soon to benefit you.
What?
So, how the fuck is Alberta going to pay for infrastructure? Don't be a dummy. Hey, so...
Okay.
I don't even think Jeff has said that we're not going to pay income tax, but I think he said it would be, like quite a reduced rate, whatever.
Well, sure, because independence means that there would be no federal tax burden. You wouldn't be paying for the needs of people on the East Coast in Quebec to pay for all their fancy fineries belonging to Confederation. That's what he's claiming, and yet this person comes along. My goodness.
But also, these are the people that Angus Reid is talking to,
Yes.
who don't understand how royalties work.
Right.
you know?
Or how other countries do this. Singapore, there's no income tax. Or if it is, it's a very, very low flat income tax. You know what I mean? 10%. 10%. But there's everybody is working in Singapore. Everybody is hustling, and they find some of the best, most profitable companies to work there to pay for it. They have one of the highest standards of living on earth. And they're choosing the independence model.
Well, when Harper lowered income tax, guess what happened to general revenue in the government? It actually went up because it generated economic activity, and economic activity
That's right.
is taxable.
That's right.
People are spending into the economy, but this lady, even if the oil companies paid no corporate income tax, in Sheila's fantasy football utopia, where there's no corporate or personal income tax,
Yeah.
they still pay royalties because most of the land in this province, the mineral rights are held by the province on behalf of the people of Alberta. So the oil companies pay revenue, they pay royalties on their barrels. And like there's a very few people, I am one of them, who freeholds their mineral rights because my land predates the formation of the province. There's very few of us out there. Everything else, the province holds the mineral rights on behalf of the people. And so even if there is no corporate income tax, the oil companies still pay royalties on their barrels, and that is money to the province for roads, for hospitals, for whatever.
Infrastructure in the public safety net, we'll say, yeah.
This person probably knows everything about Drag Queen Story Hour and nothing about how the economy works. You can tell just by looking at her.
Just like that. I'd love to see Jeff Rath's response to that.
Me too.
Ooh, let's ask
Did
him.
he respond?
We gotta
Olivia,
check.
let's hit an ad break, come back on the other side. And if Jeff Rath responded, I would love to see. Or Keith Wilson, because I feel like Keith Wilson would have a very good response to that too. Let's hit an ad break. We'll come back on the other side.
There's one seat left in the movie theater. It's in the front row. You have a bad neck. This is what we call a last resort. If your most recent electricity bill says the rate of last resort, then your rate is like the front row seat in the movie theater. It will serve its purpose, but there are likely better options available.
Big news, Rebel News now has premium memberships on X, Locals, and right here on YouTube. For just $4.99 a month on YouTube, you'll get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and access to members-only chats during our live streams. At $8.99 a month, you'll also unlock Rebel News Plus shows and our documentaries. But here's the catch. YouTube could cancel that premium tier at any time. That's why the best way to support us is at rebelnewsplus.com. It's just $8 a month, cheaper if you go annual, and you'll get exclusive extras like an ad-free site, comments access, and even the chance to submit op-eds. Wherever you join us, thanks for keeping our independent journalism alive and strong. All right. We've got a message from our friends at Rumble before we get on to the issue of incomprehensible Aboriginal names in a made-up language plaguing the people of British Columbia again. This is from Rumble Wallet. They can freeze your accounts, shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you, they control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether, you can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, like us, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. All right. Oh, my computer froze up. Okay, let's get into this next story. Before we get into the incomprehensible, unpronounceable Indigenous names with too many X's and sometimes backward sevens. How do you pronounce it backwards? Are you going to try to pronounce it?
I'm hooked on phonics, girlfriend. I was raised in the generation of sounding it out, so we're going to try this together, folks.
I don't
Okay?
know how to say a backward seven wearing a hat. I don't know what that is
Okay.
phonetically. You have a minute to work on it because Liberal MP John Paul Danko refers to Jamil Javani as Unity Mitford for meeting with U.S. officials. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mitford was a British fascist who ended up in Hitler's inner circle. Oh, we're hitting all the liberal high points here. And lived in Munich before the war. So they're basically calling Jamil Javani some sort of closet fascist for going to talk to the Americans, which means, I guess ipso facto, that this liberal MP sitting in the House of Commons is calling Trump Hitler. It's atrocious, but absolutely not a new sentiment from these people.
Look at this suit. Okay.
A U.S. hostile government, deliberate destruction of global allegiances and the stability that our country has relied on. We have a Conservative Party of Canada's own Unity Mitford who is attempting to freelance negotiations with the American president right now. There's separatist movements.
On a point of order.
A U.S.
That's bad. Not only is it like when you call everybody a Nazi, you actually are dulling the edge on that word. I've been to Auschwitz. You could still feel the evil in the air there. Nazis are evil, evil creatures. And when you start calling everybody you disagree with that, you know what that does? It normalizes the Nazis. It takes the sharp off the edge of that word. So don't do it. But also, we're in the middle of trade negotiations with the Americans. They're not going to let us open our bridge. And what do the liberals do? Stand up in the House of Commons and call Trump Hitler. By the way, he's reading. That's prepared talking points from a communications staffer working for the Liberal Party. This wasn't a flub.
This wasn't just an off the cuff, just out of his mind moment. This was a scripted moment where they called the president of our biggest, trade partner, Hitler. Liberals, what are you doing? Well, it's obvious they're trying to complicate things. It's obvious that they're campaigning off of anti-American sentiment, but this goes too far. We know that these kinds of sentiments leads to really, really terrible things happening. When you label people this way, inherently dangerous.
It is disgusting because Trump's son-in-law, daughter, and grandchildren are Orthodox Jews. They named a neighborhood in the Golan Heights, Trump Heights. If he's being Hitler, he's not doing it right. By the way, same idiot stood up and clapped for an actual geriatric Nazi in the House of Commons. I'm not taking any lessons from these people.
Maybe not.
Yaroslav Hunka, they're like, yeah, he fought the Russians. And it's like, well, the Russians were on our side, guys.
Without any one of them ever going, wait, what side were the Russians on again? Which? Not one of them.
Yeah, you clapped for a guy in the SS.
These are the people that consider themselves our moral and ethical superiors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So BC announces, this is a video we'll watch together. BC announces the name for the
Oh,
Pattullo Bridge replacement.
they're
This
going to
is where
say it.
where somebody's kookum interrupted the press conference. Remember that?
My sister Faye used to go
You
to
taught
my sister Faye. Come get your cookum.
Yeah, your kookum's out of control at this press conference. She took over the press conference with the infrastructure minister, I think, in British Columbia, and then just went off on a ramble. It was strong Grandpa Simpson's vibes, where she was talking about how she tied an onion on her belt, which was the style at the time. Like it was, gather round, children, I'm going to tell you about Zellers. It was like that in a press conference, and it went on for like 5 minutes. Anyway, that bridge announcement, oh God, Lord above.
She's Lise. Oh, you know
Okay.
what? Every time I see this woman, I have to stop her from talking because I'm threatening to do something inappropriate because of Life is Hard. This is one of those.
It was. She was that meme where Grandpa Simpson is sitting on the hill and all the children are that's what she turned that press conference into. Anyways, BC announces the name replacement for the Pattullo Bridge. It's called the, oh my God,
Don't
Stelliswasum. Again, how do
put it on the screen.
I pronounce a backwards E? How in the
I don't know what
Penquemenem language?
Stalawasum in the Hencumenum
language. A 2-page guide and a video is being provided. 2 pages.
Okay, when you
provided by the government.
When you call 911 because of an accident on the Pattullo, don't forget to reference the 2-page explainer that the government put together to tell you to describe exactly where you are. How do you say it?
No matter what your medical emergency is, they're going to think you're having a stroke.
Our friend
because you
Dave,
can't say the word.
Staloasum, it's called. Staloasum.
Okay, well, Lawrence Guerin from Musqueam is going to tell us.
Okay.
And it is important to note that this is a language that was made up at UBC in 2007. So I think this is newer than Elvish, which they use in Lord of the Rings. Let's watch together.
S, as in the word sit in English, which makes a S sound.
The next letter is a T. It makes the sound T.
An A in Hunt Communum is always pronounced like the A in the English word father.
Okay, so it's all the
same. It makes the sound ah.
Next letter is a glottalized L. Oh.
The next 2 letters together are schwa and a glottalized W, which make an O sound.
The next letter is an A. It makes the sound ah.
The S is the same as the first S. It makes the sound S.
The next letter, schwa, it makes the sound ah.
The next letter is an M, and it makes the sound M.
All of that together makes the name for the new bridge being Stalo Awesome.
Stalo Awesome.
Stalo Awesome.
Stalo Awesome.
Stalo Awesome is the Hunkaminam version, which translates into Riverview.
Okay.
And we chose that because
I'm just going to go ahead and call it the Pattullo. Okay? I'm just going to keep calling it the Pattullo. And everybody will know what I'm talking about.
This was a written last. Stalo Awesome.
Stalo Awesome. I got it real wrong. My hooked on phonics brain was going so sideways during.
Another source suggests Stalo Awesome. Why didn't we spell it phonetically then?
Right.
Like, and many of the letters were like, it's an M pronounced mm. Oh, okay. So the same? Like, what are we doing here? And again, this is a language that was made up at UBC in 2007.
By a bunch of hoity elitist academics. Yes, this is, yep. The Pattullo. Again, the Pattullo. It's a gorgeous bridge.
Even call it the Riverview. I don't care. Like, I don't care, but why are we doing this? And again, emergency services are never going to find you. Never.
Ever.
Best of luck. Um,
Oh, BC. Oh,
let's
BC.
let's go
Be normal.
into yeah, let's go into the thing that I'm doing a video on. I already wrote the video. I just have to film it after I'm done this, after my hair calms down. Danielle Smith talking about this, and the ATA, the Alberta Teachers Association, is slightly angry with me
Wild.
because I called them a bunch of perverts yesterday on the internet, and I don't care. I regret nothing. I'll do it again, and I'll actually tell you why I called them perverts. But anyway, they have canceled Paul Brandt. We talked about it on the show yesterday. Paul Brandt was a pediatric nurse before he became a multi-Juno award-winning Alberta musician who went off to Nashville, struck it big. But his roots are in Alberta, and he sang a love song about us called Alberta Bound. And he was scheduled to speak at, I think, the Northern Alberta ATA Teachers Convention.
Yeah.
And
this is their like big, yearly
day off
thing.
school.
Yes.
2 days off school is what it is to me. So he was scheduled to speak at their convention, and he has a not-for-profit, nonprofit foundation called Not in My City. It fights human trafficking. There's a safe room at the Calgary airport, actually, that he was in conjunction with a Calgary detective was instrumental in opening it. And I think in its first month, I think it helped 3 or 5 women who were being trafficked at the airport.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's saving lives.
A little aside, when you go through the Calgary airport, which I almost always have to go through to get to anywhere else in the country from Saskatchewan, all of the women's washroom stalls are plastered with a little sticker that says, if you are in trouble, if you are being trafficked, if you have if you need help, you call this number. We are here for you. And I thought, how wonderful to be a
Paul
woman
Brandt.
in this. Is that right? Well, Paul Brandt, my hat's off to you, brother, because I can't tell you how appreciated that is. I wish they would have that in every public washroom for women these days.
They canceled him because he published his own lyrics to a song. And they were like, oh, he's winking at the separatists. Even if he were, who cares? It's his lyrics. Don't, I think I'm the crazy lady with the Post-it notes on the board. This is next level, where you're they're drawing this conclusion because he publishes his own lyrics and it says, I've got independence in my veins. And they're like, oh, I guess he's a separatist now. And even if he is, who gives a crap, lady? But anyways, they canceled him. No, go ahead. I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is woke censorship in education, like we talk about every day on this program. They identified Paul Brandt as a threat to their safe space. That's what they did. He offended their crazy sensibilities. And this is a guy that works in anti-human trafficking.
Yeah.
This is it. Really? They showed their true selves here, the ATA. Tell me we have a video to watch.
We don't have a video to watch, but we have a statement from our premier.
Oh, okay.
Daniel Smith came out against these guys last night. Again, the ATA, you guys are just the worst. And I will call you perverts because of the things you advocate for. You canceled Paul Brandt, but you're okay with men in sequined ladies' underpants gyrating their junk at little kids in the library. You're perfectly fine with sexualized graphic books in the school library. You're fine with that. But you're angry at Paul Brandt because of a song he wrote 20 years ago.
Right.
Weirdos. Absolute weirdos. Anyways, Danielle Smith posted to her social media last night, and I'm glad she did. Paul Brandt also works with the provincial government on anti-human trafficking. I think he does it for free. She said, I'm immensely disappointed by the Alberta Teachers Association's decision to withdraw Paul Brandt as one of their keynote speakers at the North Central Teachers Convention this past week. Not only is Paul Brandt one of Canada's greatest musicians, but his organization, Not in My City, has been leading the fight against sex trafficking for years, especially when it comes to endangering our children, something these teachers are supposed to care about. Standing up for the victims of sex trafficking is most certainly a nonpartisan cause. When the ATA searches for some sort of explanation as to why they canceled his recent appearance to engage with teachers, I'd encourage all Albertans to learn more about the important work that Paul does by visiting his website, notinmycity.ca. He's just a genuinely good dude.
And so many more people were exposed to his good work by Danielle Smith platforming there. Good for her for sticking up for Paul Brandt and the good people of the world. But you know, how refreshing is it? How refreshing is it to see a premier come out against some of this craziness? You know,
A
in
union.
Regina, yeah, in Regina several months ago, they brought in an absolutely crazy left wing, a radical left wing anti parent campaigner from Manitoba to the Saskatchewan Teachers Convention. And there was not a
Right.
word from our government on it. There was not a word from our education minister, not from our premier, not from nobody. You know what we had to do? We just had to suffer that indignity and shut up about it. That's what was expected of us. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate Danielle standing up for students and for parents and the people of Alberta in this regard.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. They brought in a convicted murderer to talk in 2019. He strangled a woman high on drugs because he couldn't get an erection, and he killed her. And he got, I don't know, 7 years in jail. And that was in 2019. He was convicted in 2007, appealed, spent 7 years in jail, and then now he's monetizing the murder of a woman. He's a story of redemption. And they platformed him in 2019, but they canceled Paul Brandt.
The ATA brought a
Yes, ma'am.
convicted woman murderer into.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. Danielle Smith, defund them. Defund them. Just take all their money away. Okay, none of these people deserve your money. Oh, and in Saskatchewan, like they've got an even harder lock.
This is why we
the education system.
Yeah, we need right to work legislation, because I know so many good teachers who would be just appalled at this.
They are appalled at this. This is the crazy thing. They are appalled at this, but their unions are so
Powerful and
Yeah.
powerful.
Yes. And even when they're pretending to take the side of the teachers that they claim to represent, they're working against them. It's gross.
Yeah, we saw that during the teacher strike. You know, okay, this is from Andrew Lawton, sort of on the same topic. 6 men charged with trying to buy sex from children. You can't buy sex from children. You are abusing them. Have been released on a promise to appear in Durham. It's a human trafficking ring. And as our friend Tamara Leach points out, Chris Barber and her aren't even allowed to leave their houses unless it's for work.
Two-tier justice right here, Canada. Hey, can we click on that?
Let's
link
open the
here
link.
in
Let's read it.
Andrews? Let's see the names of the people that were arrested. I think.
I know what you're getting at.
Let's go, Olivia. Can you click that Durham link in Andrews? There we go. 6 men arrested for human trafficking investigation in Durham, focused on minors. They say quite nicely in the night. Okay.
Oh, here we go. 6 men were arrested on 19 charges, and your suspicions were correct.
Ready, everybody?
Not
Manish
entirely.
Singh. Okay, these are people that have been arrested, not convicted. Manish Singh, 22 of Brampton, Bruce Harrington, 50 of Ajax, Nicholas Chen, 24 of Markham, Sarang Kapti, 33 of Pickering, Leo D. Ayoyeo, 27 of Oshawa, and Christopher Smith, 39 of Oshawa.
All were released on an undertaking.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, the measure of a society is how it protects its children, and this is how the government of Canada is protecting the children of Canada, by letting people who would victimize them and abuse them go home.
Yeah. The Human Trafficking Unit launched an ongoing initiative called Project Firebird to combat those trying to buy sexual services from people under 18 years old. Officers say the project also educates and supports victims and potential victims of these crimes and addresses concerns raised by community members. It's weird because in Alberta, the ATA doesn't want to hear about this sort of stuff. In January, Project Firebird saw multiple people arranging meetings for sexual services with minors, even though the suspects were fully aware they were talking to minors.
So this was some sort of like sting operation on the internet, where an officer that's working in this area would strike up a conversation with somebody they found online and pose like they are a child and are looking for a meetup. And then these men showed up.
Yep.
And then they were arrested and let out back into their communities. How safe do you guys feel in Oshawa right now, in Ajax?
Yuck. Or for that matter, Edmonton, because the ATA doesn't want to hear about how they can see the signs of these sort of things manifesting in children in their classroom.
They would tell you
because
that,
of politics.
They would tell you that children are curious about these kind of things, and it's up to them to answer.
Yeah, I've seen the books. Like I've seen the books, okay? I looked at the books that they had in the classrooms, and then they pulled that stunt because they had to get them out of the classroom. I saw the books. They were okay with showing other people's kids.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
And that's why I call them perverts, and I regret none of it. I'll call them perverts again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, last story on the agenda. Judge revokes, this is a rare move in Canada because we didn't revoke the citizenship of convicted terrorists. Judge revokes citizenship of Guatemalan who helped lead massacre of an entire 200-person village. Federal Court Justice Roger Lafreniere put an end to a nearly 9-year legal saga by revoking the 34-year-old citizenship of Jorge Vinicio Sosa Orantes. How's that?
Oh, very good. Sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Jorge?
I think Jorge. So
oh.
Yeah. That's an evil guy's face for sure. He was the fourth in command of a Guatemalan Special Forces unit. Sosa both murdered and ordered the killing of civilians in the 1982 Las Dos Eres massacre that effectively wiped out the village off the face of the earth.
Diversity is our strength.
He obtained his Canadian citizenship in 1992 via subterfuge. The judge also ordered Sosa to pay nearly $250,000 to cover the federal government's costs for the trial, which included arranging the testimony of one of the only 2 massacre survivors. 2 of Sosa's former military colleagues who were present during the bloodbath, and 8 expert witnesses or Canadian immigration officials. Why did we entertain any of this? We should have just said, oh, you're a murderer?
Oh, hey, you can't come.
Yeah.
You can't come and you can't stay. Massacring an entire village.
He taught people how to torture other people. I'm not going to read the 36-page ruling, but it recounts the testimony of Sosa's former military colleagues about how Sosa taught his unit torture methods on live victims in a practice zone called the zombie area.
Oh, you guys, this is not good. This is not good. And it was a 9-year odyssey to get him out of the country. This shouldn't be this hard. This shouldn't be this hard. Speaking about another case where a person caused a bunch of chaos and is still in Canada, the Humboldt Broncos driver of the truck, his case is ongoing. This is now 8 years after the fact, still fighting deportation. I mean, this shouldn't even be an issue. We should have base guidelines of who we want in the country. And these 2 guys violated both of them.
Yeah. Just if we find out that you're involved in a genocide, we don't need to entertain your BS for 9 years.
And
if there's credible evidence, we shouldn't even. Why are we flying in people who witnessed the genocide? We know it happened. We know he was involved. Out you go.
That should be enough. And are we under any illusions that nobody is going to get paid back? The judge ordered him to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We've got a couple of chats and a cringe. Oh, 1 chat. Okay, so Teresa McCleary, 4939, gives $10. And she says, I worked a pop-up station, I think a petition signature collecting station.
Oh, yeah.
In Calgary on Sunday. I had an elderly lady that signed and was crying because she was not able to stand in the lines and thought she would not get to vote. Our boomers are better than theirs. They just are.
Our bloomers.
Yeah.
They're just, look at them, blooming where they're planted.
They
so
are.
She found a station and signed her name, and probably one of the most important votes or signatures of her life. It's incredible. It's incredible the opportunity that's being given to Alberta right now.
I wonder, like, I don't know the rules around canvassing, and I'm ashamed that I don't. but can they go to the nursing homes and the senior centers? Because they should.
They would love the company. The people that live there would love the company. They always do.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
They shouldn't be forgotten. Our boomers are better than theirs.
Our bloomers.
Yeah, that's right.
Western bloomers, Eastern boomers.
Yep. The cringe. This is from the Daily Mail.
I've waited my whole life for this moment. You guys, every Olympics I do an Olympic fashion rundown, okay? I take all of the uniforms, not costumes, uniforms, and then I show you the best ones. And so here's
yes, and
here's a rundown of Olympic fashion 2026.
Yes, and I described the Canadian Olympic team as they were all in a cluster coming out, like the snow melt in a ditch where it's just coffee cups. That's what they looked like, just walking out.
I've never seen
Winter Olympics worst dress. This is from the Daily Mail. You know, it's Canada's on the list. You know how I feel about their outfits
for all the wrong
disgusting.
reasons. Okay, the fashion police were called on Team Canada's uniforms this year.
Team Canada is right there. First
Let's
one.
go.
Someone described it as hideous and embarrassing.
Okay, you guys,
Oven
look
mitts.
at this. What is it? Does look like a mess. It is some sort of blanket / dress.
Scarf?
They're cross-dressing our male athletes.
Tunic?
Guys, look at this. A tunic. They put
It's
them
a
in
snuggie.
a tunic.
It's a snuggie.
So the Lululemon, this is what I noticed from the other pictures I saw online, was like the Lululemon logos on that red background look like nipple covers. When you look at it head on, like it's just the most egregious
Yeah. We
offense
have
on my
another photo.
eyes.
Olivia, if you scroll down when they're coming out in the coffee cup in the ditch formation, you can see the logos, how they look like pasties.
Yeah. There's nothing, or they sort of look like roosters a little bit. Like the color is just awful. I
You
can't
can buy
believe
that,
this was approved.
Lise. We can buy those. They describe them as vests, but are they vests? For 198 Canadian dollaritos.
For a quilted vest that looks like crap, actual crap. What did you say it looked like? You said it looked like a
piston sleeping bag from Goodwill and a coffee cup had a baby. Yes, I did say that. Look at that. What is that?
This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. Okay, so it was also my observation that when they are without the vest, so when they're just in the brown uniform, like it looks.
We have it down there. We have.
It looks
keep going,
vaguely
Olivia.
menacing. Okay.
Look at our athletes in the brown tracksuits.
They look like hostages. This looks like a hostage video.
Maduro was better dressed when the Americans snatched him and gave him a new tracksuit. Way better dressed than our athletes.
This is embarrassing. Like I'm going back to the days in the 90s when we had the bright red and white and everybody had the little berets, and we've had some really, really great Olympic uniforms over the years. Canada, but
1988 Calgary, the best. We should have stopped there
with the cowboy hats.
Yep.
With the white
Stopped
Stetsons,
there.
you're right. Yeah. Oh, that's when I fell in love with Elizabeth Manley, the figure skater, Canadian
Yes.
figure skater. Elizabeth Manley. Okay, shout out. I've been in love with you since the age of 9 because of that moment. She was just
with her cute little short hair.
Her adorable eyebrows. I mean, I can't get over how adorable Elizabeth Manley's current eyebrows still are. I'm still a
Really?
super fan of that mom. Oh, she's adorable, Elizabeth Manley. Just a treat. But yeah, our costumes are.
That was like the
excuse me,
Elvis Stoico, Kurt Browning era.
That's when figure skating was a whole vibe. Remember Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan?
Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh,
yeah.
I feel that now. Like I grew up in that era, so you wonder.
Now, can we scroll down to the Great Britain team?
Can we look at all? Yeah, please, just real quick, Olivia. Just show me what.
I know I'm
they've
running
done.
late, but
It's
that's
okay. We got 2 more minutes for
Scroll down to Great Britain.
adorable
And very British vibe.
I
Like
would
with the
give this-
peacoat.
the knit,
Yeah.
the scarf, just beautiful, absolutely
Stylish.
gorgeous.
Who is behind that?
Look at the buttons. Look
Ben
at the buttons
Sherman.
on the peak. Oh, lovely.
Team France is going to the moon, though.
100%. Oh, are they looking a little bit like spatial?
Yeah.
Oh, Oh,
Fake
yeah.
moon
These
landing. Team France.
They're going for intergalactic, guys. This is what they're going for. Yeah.
It's not
This
ugly,
is,
but it is a thing. And then
it's not exactly flattering either, I'd say.
yeah,
This is
and
not a flattering uniform.
the Germans have a less boring Canada vibe. They're in a shapeless snuggie.
Oh, I kind of like it. Like I like that abstract or is it words? It looks like I
No,
like that.
I
It
don't
must
know.
say.
Jigsaw
I think they're
puzzle?
letters. I think they're letters cut
I
out.
don't hate it. I don't
Me neither.
hate it.
I like
I
their
would
little
wear
caps.
this around a campfire and not be sad if a spark got on me. You know what I mean?
Yep, it looks like something that it looks like a snuggie, like a zip up snuggie, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I have my most favorite. Sheila, remember I sent it to you and I was like, why we aren't doing this kind of fashion? Do you remember it? It was, I want to say it was like I sent it in the group chat, Olivia. Okay, this is my favorite, absolute peak favorite Olympic uniform on
Who's
earth.
this?
I don't know the country it is. I actually don't. I think it might be Haiti. Is it Haiti? Look at,
You would wear that in a second.
You guys, I swear to God, this is inspiring me to make a snowsuit style gown for my bottom legs living in Saskatchewan in the cold north. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. Absolutely spectacular. This is my favorite outfit.
I
Look
like
at
the
Olympic
pockets.
starman.
I love a dress with pockets.
Look at her little hands tucked in her little down-filled pockets. Like it
Yeah.
creates a little muff, and then you have the little horse at the bottom and the greenery and the matching boots. I love everything about this, including the head wrap.
Yeah.
You guys know I love a head wrap, and I'm just going to recreate this, but for Saskatchewan.
I'm just so sad. I mean, there's such an opportunity for the Canadian athletes to wear buffalo check, and they never put them in it.
And be the cutest, and like just be the cutest team.
Anyway.
They hired Lululemon, put
For
our
a
men in
winter country.
tunics.
We look like we're homeless,
Dresses.
strangling ducks in a public park in the new Canada.
Hostages.
Canada 2040 is what we
That's
look like.
Those aren't uniforms. Those are a cry for help.
Right. Post-apocalyptic
Post-nationals.
survival outfits.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's fact check says the one above was from Haiti. Okay, before we move on, and I know I'm over time, I still have to film a video and I got to get somewhere. The Americans, Ralph Lauren. Just look at what the Americans are wearing. And we look like hobos.
Clean lines, perfectly white wool coats with toggle buttons, pleated pants, gorgeous leather belts and shoes, just beautional, clean Americana.
Screams the dawn of a new America. And we look like Canada 2040, generational mortgages, killing ducks in the park for food. That's what we look like.
Yeah. This is spectacular. I've loved Ralph Lauren polo stuff. Like for my whole life, I've been a Ralph Lauren fan, and that is beautiful. Just gorgeous.
All right.
And
Let's
there's us.
wrap the show. Yeah, there's us, homeless. All right. Let's wrap the show. Olivia, just the one chat. Yes, ma'am. Okay, perfect. Tomorrow is the Buffalo panel. I have no idea who's on the show with us tomorrow, but I know it's myself, and I know it is my best friend, Lise Merle, co-piloting. So, Lise, thanks for co-hosting with me today, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. See you tomorrow.
All right. Olivia, thanks for putting the show together. I know I jumped over some things, but I'm just trying to keep on time. Those of you who pitched in or who became premium members, we couldn't do this without you. Those of you who need a more affordable price point, just interact with the content. It helps us get higher up on the algorithms. And we're trying to get to 2 million subscribers. We're trying to catch up to Camping with Steve. So talk it over with your family. Decide if it's right for you.
Don't make any rapid decisions. We really want what's best for you. But subscribing to Rebel News is for sure that thing. So
and it's not permanent. You could subscribe and decide that we're not for you. The side effects are too great. You're having too much fun. And
too much freedom.
Yeah. And so you unsubscribe. That's okay too. It's not permanent. It's not like a tattoo. All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow. And as we frequently say on the show here, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.
You like the hat? Me too. Same strong message about making Canada great again, but in a really cool color, black and gold. There's other colors available, and it's an all Canadian site. So if you want to signal your tribe or trigger a Liberal, go to mcgahats.com.